Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode one of our relaunch of Talking Trash with Team Venom. I'm your co-host Rory Bailey, joined by my co-host Connor Franks.
Hello.
Now, if you've been a long-time listener to the Talking Trash brand, which hasn't been doing anything for a few years, you'll remember that me and Connor were on the very first episode of that. So there you go. That's why we're bringing it back, motherfuckers. So what we're basically going to do is go back to the whole format of we're going to talk about wrestling, we're going to talk about pop culture if we want to, mainly wrestling, to be fair. And well, and that brings us to tonight's subject because essentially, at time of recording, we are just about to hit the Royal Rumble, which is one of the biggest events of the wrestling calendar. One of the times of year when any casual wrestling fan tunes back in is the Royal Rumble. That's the point where you go, yeah, I've got to watch the Rumble and whatnot. And it's
Yeah.
also the time where people go on social media shutdown and wrestling sites shut down. I think you've been starving yourself from wrestling news sites purely because it's Rumble season, and fair enough.
Yeah.
So
The entire from basically the 1st of January. Unless it's something completely unrelated to the Rumble, like today Kevin Patrick got released. So I was like,
yeah,
yeah, I was like,
high
oh,
five.
yeah.
And then yeah, and the stuff with The Rock and TKO obviously is news that
Yeah, yeah.
picked up on. But we're not going to talk about news really because that's not the point. We're going to talk about whatever the hell we want. And what we're going to talk about is our favorite non-Rumble Royal Rumble matches. And by that I mean matches that were at the Royal Rumble but weren't the actual Royal Rumble match. So we're just gonna just riff on it for a bit. I'm not going to say a number because we could talk about one match for friggin' ages, knowing what the pair of us are like. So
Yeah.
Connor, you can have the first pick.
All right. I'm going for one that I don't think you'll have said. Like, I'll be surprised if you thought of this one.
Is it Kurt Angle versus Taz?
No.
Oh, all right, fair enough.
It's from the 2005 Royal Rumble pay-per-view,
Okay,
and it's Shawn Michaels versus Edge.
which was very good. Okay,
It
cool.
was very good. Um,
Oh, that was when they were building Edge up to be a star, wasn't it? Because he won the Money in
oh,
the Bank
Jesus.
in 2005.
Yeah.
That was yeah, I remember because New Year's Revolution, Shawn was the referee in the chamber match, and Edge blamed Shawn for him not being champ and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, yeah, great
Yeah.
times. Yeah,
It was 2005. It was around the time I was really started paying attention to like the stories of wrestling because at that point I was 8.
yeah,
So like normally I just wanted to see people beating the shit out of each other, but started paying attention more, and at that point Edge was the heel.
yeah,
And obviously Sean. I don't matter what age you are, Sean is, his
yeah,
entrance against Taker with the heavenly white is like what he is to all wrestling fans.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so it's always stuck in my mind as a very good like classic good guy bad guy, and it's just glorious.
I'd like to point out some random factoids about the build to this match, which I know you're probably aware of, but the viewers may not be aware of. What started this and started Edge down that path was in 2004, Edge was Intercontinental Champion, held the tag titles with Benoit, and then it got to the point where they were gradually turning him heel, and they did this whole thing where at Taboo Tuesday, I think it was called, or Cyber Sunday. It's whatever the first one of the voting pay-per-views that they did. I'm sure it's
Taboo
Taboo
Tuesday.
Tuesday. Yeah. And the winner of the fan vote was gonna face Triple H, and the picks were Benoit, Edge, and Shawn Michaels. The winner would get the world title match, and the runners-up would get the tag title match. Benoit and Edge were the runners-up, and they got the tag title match and won the tag titles. Shawn would go on to wrestle in the main event with a busted knee as well because that was injured on the way in. But the interesting fact about that is that that was the night that they actually wanted to put the world title on Edge first. So the plan was that Edge was supposed to win that vote, which he only just missed as well. When you see it, it's like by 5% or something, he's missed it. And Edge was supposed to win that, and they were going to put the world title on him, according to Edge himself from various interviews and podcasts and stuff. And then that was the point where I think he was getting booed in his own hometown as a face. So that was the point where he just turned on them on the crowd and targeted Shawn. Then we got that awesome Rumble match. So yeah,
The thing with the Taboo Tuesday stuff, though, is that if the plan was for Edge to be champion, I, with every fibre of my being, I don't believe that Vince would have put someone in there who could even be a possibility of coming close in the voting ratings.
I think they were trying to make it more unpredictable because like Shelton Benjamin won the Intercontinental Championship that evening as well, and that wasn't supposed to happen. That was
Mm.
supposed to be Jericho defending against a random member of the roster, and because there was such a good fan support for Shelton, they made the audible call to go, yeah. But like, Shelton didn't know until he was in the ring that he was winning the Intercontinental Championship, which is awesome, to be fair.
Oh yeah,
So I think they were trying to make it as unpredictable as possible. I think if Edge had won the vote, he would have won the world title, and everyone would have been like, "Damn!" Like, but I
mm.
don't think Benoit needed to win it again because he just had that lengthy run. Shawn Michaels didn't want the title at the time, if memory serves. There was a whole period where he won the world title briefly, and then he didn't want it afterwards. Um, because he was offered it. I think he was offered it the following year as well, when Kurt Angle became world champion in that battle royal after Batista was injured.
Yeah,
So Shawn was offered that then and didn't go for it because he didn't want it, which speaks volumes. What Shawn actually wanted to do for the tail end of his career was just make stars, and he did such a good job in matches. I mean, Edge, I think this match especially is one of those overlooked Edge gems. So yeah, fair play.
all right. Here's with your first one.
Taz versus Kurt Angle. There we go. I mentioned it earlier. I may as well talk about it again.
Fair.
2000 was a very awesome year for me. The 2000 Royal Rumble was the first pay-per-view that I stayed up late to watch live as it happened.
And you
And
was
it was
only
on,
what, 26 at the time?
yeah, 14.
Yeah,
No, I would have been 13, sorry.
good age.
And it was on, I don't know, I'm so old. And, but because I was 13, the night is so memorable because basically it was on Channel 4, so I could watch it on my old frigging square black and white TV in my bedroom, like that, or whatever I had. One that I had to tune the channels in on. That's how old I was. Because back in my day, young Sonny, I had to tune it with a snail. And essentially, it was on Channel 4, so I could watch it in my room, which meant that
Yeah.
no one needed to know that I was staying up late to watch the wrestling. I just had to be really fucking quiet. So, yeah, I stayed up on the sneaky sneak because school the next day and everything. And while I was waiting for it, I'd randomly switched Channel 4 on about, say, half an hour before the Rumble started. It was Demi Moore's Striptease was the film that they were showing beforehand. And I was like, ha, boobs. Like that. 13-year-old me was like, this is a great night. Just,
It's the greatest night of my
where did
life.
this come from? Amazing. Like, boobs. Like that. Wonderful. And then it soured because in that 2000 Royal Rumble, we also had Mae Young's boobs. And he was like, oh, no, wrong boobs. Like that. So, but it was one of those things where I watched it live. And at the time, Kurt Angle had been undefeated on TV. They were really hyping it. And when it actually came to the match itself and his mystery opponent, Taz came out, choked him out, and won the match. But Kurt Angle did the thing of, oh yeah, the Taz mission's an illegal choke, so I actually won, and he was going on with that all the way up until WrestleMania. But yeah, it was great. It was a brilliant debut for Taz. I'd seen a little bit of Taz before in ECW, but nothing much because see in the 90s in the UK, ECW was just you caught it every now and again if you were lucky, if you woke up at the wrong time of night or whatever and switched it on.
Yeah.
It wasn't something that you could do, and Sky Plus wasn't a thing. The only way that you could watch wrestling the night after it was on was if you got like an extended play VCR tape in and did it that way, which I did do for quite a lot of pay-per-views. But or wait a few days for the replay on Sky. Um, but yeah, so that to me as a 13-year-old and stuff, and having seen the build of Kurt Angle and all that, and then knowing who Taz was, but not having actually watched a lot of his stuff, and then seeing that match where Taz just came out and just threw him the fuck around and everything, that was great. I loved it, absolutely loved it. So yeah, that's got to be one of my favorite matches.
It's a good match. I mean, I can't really say much about it. You said enough, but what's
Sorry,
important to take
man.
no, what's important to take away from that is boobs.
Boobs. Yeah, yeah, it is. It's very
All right.
important.
I'll hit you mine, and we're only jumping a year in advance.
Okay.
2001.
Ladder
Yep.
match.
Yes. The Intercontinental
Yeah.
Championship ladder match, Jericho versus Benoit.
Yes,
It's just a masterpiece. It
it
really
is.
is.
That was the whole I'd fight you on a boat, I'd fight you on a goat sort of thing that they were doing on the way up. It was weird, but great.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, weird build, but great match.
yeah,
In hindsight, I think it was weird that Jericho dropped the title here. Jericho won the title here because I
yeah,
feel like I always find it weird if a major champion in terms of the wrestler, so Benoit,
yeah.
I always find it weird when they drop a title like not long before Mania.
The thing is, for 2000 and 2001, the Jericho Benoit stuff, I think that was
Oh,
okay
it was
too
like
because you had
Intercontinental level.
yeah, but it like because the previous Rumble, Jericho was co-intercontinental champion with China, and they had the Hardcore Holly thing in 2000. By WrestleMania, Kurt Angle had got the Intercontinental and European things, and then you had like a year-long feud between Angle, Benoit, and Jericho.
Mm.
And I think they did it so that Benoit won the Intercontinental Championship at WrestleMania because it was that two falls triple threat match, and Jericho won the European. By the time they got around to the Royal Rumble season, Benoit dropped the IC title so that at WrestleMania we had that submission match between Angle and Benoit.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, I think that's why they did it.
Yeah, that
It's like the thing of like this is why I was saying when we were on about this year's Mania, and I was saying I could see them taking the title off Gunther if they're doing Gunther versus Brock because of things like that they've done historically. But that's yeah. But yeah, that's why they did it because they did that awesome submission match, which was one of the best matches in Mania history. Well, on the best Mania in history, arguably 17.
no, mate, it's not Mania 27, but we move.
27?
Uh,
Wasn't that missed twice? No, it
yes.
wasn't. Was it 26 that was the Miz twice, and 27 was Rock Cena 1, and 28
No,
Rock Cena
20,
2?
28, 20, I'm sure. Well, no, because
No, you're right. 20,
27 was Cena Miz,
yeah,
28 Rock Cena 1, 29 Rock Cena 2,
because
because
CM Punk took on
once,
Undertaker at 29. Yeah, yeah,
yeah, because once in a lifetime.
yeah. Thrice in a lifetime, if you
Yeah,
count the tag match.
yeah. All
Yeah.
right, hit me with your second.
Oh yeah, it's my turn. Before this started, I jokingly said that we're probably going to be talking a lot about Benoit and Kurt Angle in particular. Obviously, I've done Kurt Angle versus Taz. You've done Jericho Benoit. Now I'm going to talk about Kurt Angle Benoit from 2003, which I think was the match where the people behind the scenes were like, yeah, you know what, Chris Benoit needs to become a world champion in the WWE because that was
Yeah,
such a fantastic match. I mean, I was obviously we're doing the thing of separating the man from the art from the man sort of thing
yeah,
because of how terrible all that stuff goes. And obviously, it's not something that we would even remotely condone or anything like that. But at that point in time, I was a fan of Chris Benoit, the wrestler, and I was since early 2000 because again, the Royal Rumble time 2000 was when I was watching regularly all the time, and the night after the Rumble was when Benoit, Guerrero, Saturn and Malenko all jumped ship to Raw, or the week after, or something. It was in that month anyway. It was January
mm,
that year. Benoit had won the WCW title the night before at a pay per view, and then was on Raw the next night, just sat in the front row, like, all right.
mm,
And they were immediate. The four of them, the Radicals, were immediately presented as a big deal. Benoit had a few times during that year where he won the title, but it didn't count. So like he
yeah,
beat The Rock because of Shane, and then it was overturned twice, I think. And like Fully Loaded, one of it was one of them. But by 2003, he'd had his long absence because of a neck injury. He'd come back with Guerrero for a while. They'd gone to SmackDown. They had all the different bits and pieces that they were doing. He'd had the um, WWE Tag Team Championship with Kurt Angle as the first tag team champions for that run. Um, and then by the beginning of 2003, it was clear that Benoit should be in the main event. He should be a world champion, and the Royal Rumble match that saw the pair of them absolutely obliterate the rest of the card um, saw the entire crowd give Benoit a hell of a standing ovation afterwards. And I think, if memory serves, that's the first time I've seen that on a major wrestling pay-per-view when the loser is getting enchanted like that. I know that happens a lot more now, but I'm pretty sure that was the first time where it was like Benoit's lost, but the whole arena's going apeshit for him because of how good that match was.
Yeah.
And I think that was when the office was like, yeah, no, he's doing really well. We can't give him the title on a throwaway pay-per-view. He's winning next year's Rumble, and he did. And then they gave him the title in the main event of WrestleMania 20, which was the biggest WrestleMania up until that point. Um, yeah, it was just a fantastic match, and any Kurt Angle Benoit match is worth watching by default. I don't think I've ever seen a bad match between the pair of them. So
No, I think they're both. Well, it's like we mentioned this on the TNA one when we
yeah,
were talking about like Jerry Lynn and X Pac, is
yes,
they come under the same guise as the case. You could throw a fucking broom in there and they'll manage to have a decent match out of it. So you put them together, there's no way in hell it's gonna be anything below decent. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah.
All right, jumping further forward, I've gone for, and this is like prime childhood for me.
Okay.
Last man standing match for the WWE title, John Cena versus Umaga from Rumble
Oh, that was great.
2007. Yeah,
That was when Kevin Federline was fanning around at the time as well, wasn't it?
yeah, he
On
just
Raw and
randomly
stuff.
kept appearing on Raw. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah, I love Umaga.
yeah. Yeah, to
Um,
be fair, yeah, you have the
yeah,
floor, sir.
yeah, I love Umaga. Granted, Cena wins, lol. Um,
Well,
but
that's just
again,
because of the era that we were in at that point.
yeah, of course. But again, I'd have found it weird if he lost because of how close it was to Mania, which has always been my mindset. Um, 2007 was that Mania 23?
Yes,
Yeah,
he went on to
which
face Shawn
yeah,
Michaels in the main event. It was supposed to be the rematch
yeah,
with Triple H, wasn't it? And Triple H blew a quad.
and Umaga went on to face Lashley, I believe,
Yeah, in the
Battle of
Battle
the
of the Billionaires
Billionaires.
with Trump and Vince and
Yeah,
Austin involved.
yeah, and then Umaga lost to Batista the next year. Umaga wasn't treated well at Mania. Anyway,
No.
no.
Yeah, it was Battle of the Billionaires and then Battle of the Brands with no build. So, yeah,
Yeah, where it was Batista versus Umanga because
as Regal would say. Yeah, yeah.
Regal, yeah. No, Umaga at this time was terrifying. Um, Super Cena, yeah, but at the time, Cena nearly always won unless shenanigans. But fuck me, did he make it? Did he make it look like it wasn't going to happen? Plenty
Yeah.
of times. This is one of those pay-per-views I had on DVD, like so it was like constantly on.
I think I've still got it on DVD on a shelf somewhere, to be honest. I've got the Steelbook where, because this is where it came down to Michaels and Taker at the end, wasn't it?
Yes,
Yeah. Yeah, I've got it on Steel. I've
yeah,
got the Steelbook of that somewhere on the shelf. It's great.
yeah, because then '08 Rumble started with those two,
Yeah.
and it was a nice little teaser for what we were gonna get in the
Yeah, yeah.
future. Yeah, it was brutal. It was um primarily seen a win by like choking him out with doing the STF with like wire
Everything
or
he could
something.
fucking find. Yeah.
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 Yeah, so looking back on it now as an adult, I like it even more, purely based on the fact that Umaga lost and yet still looked like a monster.
Yeah.
Didn't really kill, his whole thing. Um Santino probably did that. But this didn't, and I like it.
Fair enough. Well, that's five. So we'll do an even six, and we will cap this off and see everyone next week. But first, I'll give you mine from the same show that you've just mentioned. One of my favourite matches was Shawn Michaels and Triple H versus Rated RKO for the Tag Team Championships at the Royal Rumble, which was just a cracking match. It's one of those matches that it's more impressive because of Triple H's injury and carrying on with the match and all that sort of stuff. And
What
Edge and
Rumble
Orton
did
at the
that take place
time
at?
pardon,
Which Rumble did that take place at?
the same one,
It didn't.
2007,
It didn't.
didn't it?
No. I'm almost positive the only tag match. on
No,
that was
I'm on about
Eminem and
2006.
Hardy's.
I've got confused. Sorry, man. That's
Okay.
my bad. Yeah,
Okay. No,
because
it's
it was
fine. I was just
Michael's. Yeah. Okay, I've gotten that completely confused. So the previous year, so the Rated RKO versus Degeneration X. It was during the big return of DX, and it was really good. It was just a really good tag match. Triple H busted his quad for the second time. It led to Michaels versus Cena at Mania, where they were both tag team champions going into that. So that was strange to see, but it was really good. It was a good match, and yeah, really good to see. Anyway, we'll wrap it
uh,
up there. Well,
I hate to call you out,
yeah,
but I don't think that happened at '06, did it? That didn't happen at '06.
I thought it was '07, but then you told me it didn't.
It's not '07. I think you got your pay-per-views mixed up. If my memory serves right, that would be Survivor Series. No,
No,
not
because it
Survivor
was
Series. The New Year's thingy.
let me have a
One of them.
quick
I
look.
don't think I don't know which.
I'm gonna have to have a quick look as well.
Yeah, I'm sure it didn't happen at a Rumble. I mean, it happened a million fucking times, but I'm pretty sure it didn't happen.
Huh. Let's have a quick. New Year's Revolution. I was off by. It was
Ah,
'07. I was off by two
ah,
weeks. Okay,
ah!
scratch that. We'll go for a different
You're
one.
a phony.
Right. Let's do the leading again. I'm cutting that out.
No.
All right. So we've done our 5 matches. We'll ignore number 6 because that was me fucking up. Right. And we'll be back next week where we're going to talk about something else that's probably going to be Rumble related. But what we're not actually going to talk about is this year's Royal Rumble itself because we're not. So we'll see you all later. Thank you for watching.